Hello and welcome to the news segment on HOMEF TV. I am Kome Odomo. First, the highlights. Youths in Bayelsa State sits with environmental legend. Agroecology gets consensus endorsement. Young environmentalist uses creativity for environmental safety. CAPA trains journalists, advocates for salt reduction to combat rising NCDs. Welcome back, and now the news in details. With the quest for increased food production, Health of Mother Earth Foundation, HOMEF, organized practical training on agroecology for farmers in Enugu and Edo states. The training was to equip them with hands-on knowledge for agroecology and to enable them produce safe, nutritious, and culturally appropriate food in the face of climate crisis while sustaining their livelihoods. Some farmers at the meeting admitted that GMO seeds and inorganic chemicals have proven unsustainable with poor yields. Our correspondent Eseli Ojanelu completes the report.
Health of Mother Earth Foundation, in collaboration with the GMO-Free Nigeria Alliance and other partners, held a practical training on agroecology for farmers and extension workers in Enugu and Edo states, Nigeria. The training was designed to address the issues of hunger and climate change, which are compounded by the existence of genetically modified organisms, GMOs, and highly hazardous pesticides, HHPs, in the agriculture system. The Director of Programs and Lead Hunger Politics in HOMEF, Joyce Brown, stated that the goal and essence of the training is a strategy used by HOMEF to deal with the ongoing environmental and climate crisis in Nigeria and Africa at large.
We get our local seed, when we feel use, where we feel produce good food for us. Now, if I ask us, what will be the main challenges where we face with our farming? Now, the most important thing be say, our seed, we get problem with our seed.
No.
We get problem with our seed.
No.
But waiting I don't talk now, the soil. And that problem now, for waiting to happen to the soil, the oil pollution, plus the chemical where they put join, plus climate change, as if I talk. Not be the seed. Not be the seed they cause us. So we don't need GMOs.
At the training, farmers gained knowledge on how to produce pesticides using the neem plant, garlic, and chili pepper, as well as how to produce the Jeva Marut fertilizer using various locally sourced materials. Understood the concept of agroforestry and how it helps promote biodiversity, soil, and plant health of their farms.
This thing that, this training, in fact, is an exposure of what we don't know. And at least it will minimize our cost of buying fertilizer and, pesticide and other things.
We are exporting our goods. They test it and reject it. But here is like a dumping ground. And that is why we are not safe. We see chemical we buy because government have approved it already. Be able to produce our own manure naturally that will protect us. And this message will go gradually and educate, give awareness to everybody so that these things we can put a full stop to it.
So expository. I never knew I could produce insecticide on my own or pesticide. So I want to thank HOMEF, the organizers of this program. So I'm recommending that much more of these trainings, for us farmers, because that's what we will be benefiting to reduce the cost of buying all these inputs.
The farmers resolved that the federal government of Nigeria should ban the use of GMOs and ensure the preservation of local natural seed varieties, while increasing support for farmers through the timely provision of needed infrastructure. They also called on the government through the Ministry of Agriculture to support and promote agroecology by ensuring access to organic fertilizers, pesticides, and quality seeds, while the Federal Ministry of Agriculture collaborates with organizations like HOMEF and Be the Help Foundation to organize more training on production of organic pesticides and fertilizers to improve productivity using agroecology principles. Eseli Ojanelu, HOMEF TV.
In a one-day interactive session, The Young Environmentalist Network, TN, under the youth desk of HOMEF, organized an eco-grief session which was aimed at fostering youth engagement and participation in the fight for the rights of the environment. Members of the network shared their challenges and the impact climate change has made on their well-being while voicing their commitment to grassroots and youth-led activism. Odudu Abasi Asuko completes the report.
The Young Environmentalist Network, TN, had the inaugural edition of Eco Groove to engage young minds in discussions about environmental awareness, ecology, and the importance of preserving nature. The project lead for the youth desk at HOMEF, Okpono Basi, while welcoming members, stated that the idea of the Eco Groove is to build a more sustainable and equitable world while fostering an environmental dialogue for knowledge, reflection, inspiration, and collective action. Community and culture lead at HOMEF, Cadmus Atakenade, encouraged the youth to channel their creativities towards protecting the rights of the environment while staying linked and engaged to their heritage, cultural, and environmental roots.
It's the parents' organization which focuses on food issues and fossil issues as well, and environmental issues in general. So TN is the youth desk, basically, which tries to translate everything HOMEF does, to the younger generation.
Try as much as possible to channel them back to our environment, back to our culture, back to our roots. We try to tailor them towards going back to the roots where they come from. Because at the moment, a lot of persons have lost their traces, lost their roots.
Participants engaged in an interactive game session that wove environmental themes into playful banter. Through imaginative wordplay, participants explored the symbiotic relationship between time, nature, and humanity, infusing the atmosphere with humor and insights.
The importance of ecology cannot be overemphasized, as our day-to-day activities revolves around how balanced the ecosystem is. So if there is an imbalance in the ecosystem, we ourselves, we tend to not function properly.
Because we have been all part of the heat surge that has been affecting Nigeria, but nobody is sitting down to talk about why is it happening, will it get worse, if it get worse, what happened? I mean, imagine if this whole heat thing becomes like a consistent pattern every year, how we cope? So the best way to make everybody involved in ecology is to identify the issue, make it personal.
Now, engaging the younger generation, it's more like we, the older generation, don't let me say we, the older generation need to take it more, they need to take it seriously. Just as the way they put history in schools should be a central subject, or let's say a topic that they should always talk about.
Engaging dialogues on environmental knowledge and perspectives, participants brought their diverse backgrounds and experiences, sharing the stark realities of climate change and its tangible impacts on their lives. From the scorching heat waves to the unpredictable weather patterns, each painted a vivid picture of the environmental challenges they face daily. The youth voiced their commitment to grassroots activism and youth-led initiatives by harnessing the collective energy and creativity of young people, engaging in one-on-one conversations and outreach programs. Odudu Abasi Asuko for HOMEF TV.
Health of Moderates Foundation, HOMEF, held an educational dialogue and consensus building with the people of Twanbras in Bayelsa State, Nigeria. The community is said to be suffering from erosion, eating its way into the hearts of the community. The purpose of the meeting was to sensitize community people on the effect of exploitation on their waters and the impact on the communities surrounding them. Participants were introduced to Fishnet Alliance, which serves as a bigger platform where their discomforts and challenges faced by fishers are discussed. Jude Ifeanyichukwu completes the report.
The event had 80 participants drawn from communities that suffer incessant oil spills, not just from oil production sites, but also from loading infrastructure set up in the area around Nembe Creek. Community people shared their stories of how they have survived climate crisis, sea level rise, flooding, and oil spills that have beset their community. Sharing survival stories of the people, They lamented that their fishing terrain is being threatened by oil and water eroding shoreline. Participants stated that over the years there have been lots of changes, and in the present day, with massive ships moving into the area, it has become a huge challenge with fishing.
The oil companies are feeling that we are not feeling the impact of the oil spillage. Most of our mods, if you put your leg, you see the oil. It's a spillage, but it has not floated into the water, so they feel they can do nothing. So we are really hard up in this form. If the smaller fishes are killed, then which other one that will follow them to the creek to eat?
When we go, we not kill well again because of the river, the condition of the river. When you go see oil here and there. When I travel to Benagua, when you turn your eye to the corner, you go see all this oil there. The women then they start, men they start say, hey, we don't suffer, no fish to kill again. You go see some fish that they float like this, no way for us. Our nets don't tear finish. Our crayfish, me especially, me and my husband, they go river for all these fish and crayfish.
The session was aimed at enlightening the community participants about the environmental issues they have now been exposed to due to the oil exploration in the community.
Believes that you cannot fight for somebody without the person. So we are here to stand side by side, to fight side by side with them, to ensure that their voices are heard, to ensure that their environment are cleaned, remediated and restored, and the well-being of the people are restored. And we are here to show solidarity and to also join in that call that these voices must be heard, these voices must be attended to.
We want to make our communities day as God created them, the environment. Make nothing spoiler. But unfortunately, because of these oil companies, but to spoil where we they plant food and where we they kill our fish, we they go for our fishing. That's not the major one.
Participants were reminded of the power they have, and they were charged to take responsibility and protect their environment. Community people charged the government to engage in environmental cleanup for all the communities around the Nembe Creek area and Brass that are affected by the spills. Judy Chuku for HOMEF TV.
Welcome back. Corporate Accountability and Public Participation Africa, CAPA, has advocated for salt reduction in industrial food to reduce the health implications and burden Nigerians are exposed to due to salt intake. Among the risk factors associated with non-communicable disease, excessive salt consumption stands out as a significant contributor as Nigerians grapple with the growing prevalence of conditions like hypertension, cardiovascular diseases, and stroke. There is an urgent need for the effective intervention. Our correspondent Emmanuel Mora has the reports.
The Executive Director of Corporate Accountability and Public Participation Africa, CAPA, Akimbode Oluwafemi, during a journalism training session on salt reduction, stated that in raising awareness and promoting behavioral change, the media plays a crucial role in advocacy efforts aimed at influencing policy and driving systemic change. Oluwafemi urged the journalists to help Nigerians understand the gimmicks of the food production industry that promotes unhealthy food as the norm.
As civil society groups is to help the public understand the dangers in some of our dietary choices and to make people lead healthy lifestyles. We strongly believe that this training will further advance our quest to ensure that Nigerians are well educated.
Speaking about the importance of the training, the program officer at CAPA, Bukola Olukemi Odili, stated that the objectives of the campaign are to utilize media and communication strategy to empower decision makers and the public to actively monitor policymakers. Director of the Network for Health, Equity and Development and Technical Advisor, Salt Reduction Campaign, Dr. Jerome Mafeni, emphasized the need for rigorous advocacy and regulation to combat this pervasive health issue, proposing policy strategies such as setting health targets, education and awareness campaigns, and food labeling regulations.
So objectives of the campaign is we engage, inform and pursue, we build support of decision makers at different levels of policy making. We utilize media and communication strategies to empower decision makers. Our goal is to enforce regulations to see that we reduce Nigeria's salt intake.
Implementing mandatory salt reduction targets will not only address the immediate health risks associated with high sodium consumption, but also pave the way for long-term benefits in reducing the burden of cardiovascular and other diseases.
There's a lot of work to be done. First of all, the knowledge gap for the ordinary Nigerian is very huge. A lot of these people don't know that excessive salt is bad. From just excessive salt, it can degenerate to high blood pressure and from there generate to hypertension. So for me, I think knowledge is key.
Health experts and CAPA at a one-day journalism training on salt reduction encouraged the general public to make a conscious decision to reduce the amount of salt in the food that they consume. Mora Emmanuel, reporting for HOMEF TV.
As part of activities to mark World Earth Day, Health of Moderates Foundation has raised awareness about the pressing issue of plastic pollution and its impact on the planet. In an event organized by the Young Environmentalist Network to emphasize the importance of Earth Day, youths were charged to abandon single-use plastics while staying connected to their environments. Stanley Egolo completes the report.
The event emphasized the importance of World Earth Day while encouraging everyone to reflect on their role in preserving our planet for future generations. Participants gained valuable insights into the intricate relationship between humans and their environment. Personal anecdotes, scientific research, and community perspectives were shared, enriching the dialogue and fostering a deeper understanding of the challenges we face. Discussions on the advantages and huge disadvantages of plastics were the highlights of the event, with the panel discussion. A diverse panel of experts and environmental advocates delved into the complexities of plastic usage, examining its historical context, societal implications, and environmental repercussions.
So plastic has a lot of disadvantages. So, and if the people in the past could survive without it, then we can go back and look at how they did it and try and use our technology to make it better. If they could do it without technology, without education, we that are educated, we can do it more.
You would agree with me that we've abused the use of plastic simply because it provides a lot of ease. It's been said that if we're not careful, before we know it, there'll be more plastics in the seas than fish. Nobody wants that to happen. Plastics are blocking our drains. Plastics are polluting our food, and we just simply have to wake up to the reality.
The demand for conscious advocacy and individual accountability were identified as essential pillars in the fight against plastic pollution. Participants were encouraged to take tangible steps towards reducing their plastic footprints, from adopting sustainable alternatives to advocating for policy change at the local and national levels. The event served as a rallying cry for collective action and environmental stewardship. As participants dispersed, inspired, and empowered, they carried with them a renewed sense of purpose and determination to effect positive change in their communities. Stanley Egolo, HOMEF TV.
Are you a lover of academic and intellectual books? Do you seek proper works of research for knowledge enhancement, or you want a place to read at your leisure? Then HOMEF Library and Resource Center is the right place to be. With our well-arranged and fully stocked bookshelves, searching for your preferred genres and authors is made much easier than you could ever imagine. With our well-experienced librarians and guides, you've got a reading and research pleasure to catch up with. At HOMEF Library and Resource Center, Benin City, Nigeria, it is simply an unforgettable experience.
Welcome back. Ebetkache Women Development and Resource Center and its allied partners in communities have demanded the federal government not to approve the divestment of oil assets until all polluted farms, rivers and forests in the Niger Delta region have been cleaned and restored. They emphasized the role and importance of women to the environment, and the development to the Niger Delta is crucial because women depend on the environment for their daily needs. This was made known in a mobilization visit to communities in Bayelsa and River States to educate and sensitize women to stand against the proposed divestment by Shell and other IOCs without consulting with communities nor remediating the land. Mabel Obaseki completes the report.
Decades of oil pollution and destitution have placed women in a vulnerable position. Women not only endure environmental degradation but also play a vital role in environmental management. Ebetkache Women Development and Resource Center is collating signatures online and physically to call for an end to divestment without ecosystem restoration. Community women are concerned about the reputations of the new corporations acquiring assets. They fear that gas is still being flared and communities continue to endure the repercussions. The severe disruption to agriculture, fishing and hunting has caused health issues among women who have been exposed to hydrocarbons. Some affected Niger Delta women expressed concern about the swiftness of the divestment plans, owing that the Nigeria government has not provided guidelines.
But now, since the crude and other things has affected our fish, we no longer get fish, so we do go to get fish ponds. And before we get there, a lot of transportation and order. So now, at the stand in Okrizi, our fishes are gone, unlike before. The Shell, they have to correct what they have already spoiled in our river before they will leave. Because if we allow them to leave, we will continue suffering, we will not have fish and other things.
Ebetkache notes that the planned divestment has not considered the interest of community people, particularly women. Thus, the Niger Delta women condemns the international oil companies and Nigeria's regulatory authorities' attempt to undermine due diligence, transparency, and accountability in the divestment process. The group called on the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to ensure that Renaissance Africa Energy should make public all documents submitted for the acquisition of SPDC and all proofs of compliance and guidelines for the divestment of oil assets. Mabel Obaseki, HOMEF TV.
Environmental energetic youths sat at the feet of environmental legend to learn firsthand the techniques of reporting environmental issues adequately and effectively and significance of truthful reporting and community engagement. In a one-day learning from the wise organized by Health of Mother Earth Foundation, Onome Etisoro reports that participants were equipped with knowledge and skills needed to effectively monitor the environment and advocate for a just transition. Onome Etisoro completes the report.
Environmental activist Alagoa Morris encouraged youth to embrace new skill sets and diversify the economy, particularly by focusing on agriculture, whilst acknowledging the challenges Nigeria faces in transitioning from fossil fuels. Comrade Alagoa urged participants to remain resolute in their efforts for a restored Niger Delta. He called for government support to bridge the knowledge gaps and empower communities affected by the transition. Health of Mother Earth Foundation recognized the need to bridge the gap in environmental monitoring and reporting and to pick lessons on how to adapt to the present world, on best practices in monitoring and using the reports for strategic advocacy. This session held an opportunity for participants to interrogate the linkages between monitoring, traditional knowledge, and how these can help to pilot the just energy transition the world so desperately needs. Comrade Alagoa, in his over 3 decades of experience in the monitoring, reporting, and advocacy in the region, shared his experiences, wisdom, and lessons learned over the years with the youths and eco-defenders.
When I started, the fear with which I started was whether I would be able to fit in to the shoe that I was stepping into. To deliver, I was concerned. To map out your strategy, how to succeed in the field. Don't go and tell them what you cannot do. Some people will go with us to community and then they will be telling them big things, building skyscrapers in heaven.
We notice that in recent times people are really scared to be identified as activists because of the horrors and the things they've heard about activists to want to continue the aspects of activism. We have people write, do reports and send to us and all of that. People pick up interest in taking up advocacy and activism. So
participants were charged and vowed to become better monitors, hoping for a better environment.
I am most particular about his first-hand experience because he was not just telling us what he read from books or research or whatever. He was giving us first-hand experience information. They can also spur you to action because these things are things that are peculiar to us and we need to find solutions to them quickly.
It's important that we interrogate the processes so that the younger people understand what it really is. Some persons may want to be carried away by the economics of it while not taking cognizance of the environmental aspect of it.
Learning from the Wise identifies environmental activists who have passionately engaged in environmental remediation. This session identified the importance of truthfulness in the process of reporting, quick response time to case of pollution, the importance of sharing the reports made from evidence gathered to enable a wider audience to be aware of and follow the situation, and the need to help develop the skills for community entry and engagement. Onome Echisiero for HOMEF TV.
You've been watching the news on HOMEF TV. But before we go, we'll take the recap. Youths in Bayelsa State sits with environmental legend. Agroecology gets consensus endorsements. Young environmentalist uses creativity for environmental safety. CAPA trains journalists, advocates for salt reduction to combat NCDs. Thank you for staying with us. I am Kome Odomo.
We tell community stories. We stand to decolonize false narratives and promote narratives and ideas that heal our land. We propel the just transition. This is HOMEF TV, your #1 environment space.